Welcome to this class. So we're going to paint a seascape, and I chose a much larger sheet of a watercolor paper for a simple reason. It's just so much easier to spread these colors when you have more room for the colors to blend, and overall the effect. It looks so much prettier once you're done when you have something like this larger than just 9 by 12. And let's see. So that's the part. So I'm gonna start like this. And it's kind of like I'm twisting it at the same time. And then sometimes I'll press a little harder. And then there's like a lot of other areas where we have that foam. So you can go back and press a little harder again. Or the next step is to have your colors pre-diluted with water to a consistency that I like to call heavy cream-like ratio. So the ratio between water and paint. That's just my typical color for the sky with a little bit of red in it, and I often add some yellow. So primary colors, yellow, blue, and red. And that's for the clouds. And for the sand, raw sienna, my yellow ochre, very often, especially in the past, I would add a little bit of gold just to make that sand like shimmery and pretty and everything. For the shadows, I often add some Van Dyke brown or burnt sienna. So we'll work on that, and we'll start with the sky. So now that I diluted my colors with water, I'm going to start wetting the paper. So I'm just going to start wetting. I have a little something there on the brush. All right. So at first I drop water, like a ton of water, and then I'm just going to spread it. I want a lot of water because I want that water to get absorbed inside of the paper. There you go. I'm holding a flat 24 brush, and I'm gonna start with the clouds. So I want to grab a little bit of yellow, primary colors, yellow, blue, red, and then some of the blue, right? So that's for my clouds. So I just created a shade of gray, but I need more water. And if I don't have enough water, what's going to happen is I'm basically going to dry the paper even more. So these are going to be my clouds. I want these clouds to feel a little more bluish. So I need more of that blue tone with it. Now, whatever I stay away from those areas, that's basically how I would create clouds. But I do want some color in them. So I'm just mixing the colors here quickly, and I want to make sure the colors are diluted with water, because here, for example, I had a little chunk. So I got to go back, make sure I don't have chunks of paint. Applying now the blues. So this is my phthalo blue, and then there's my quinacridone red. This was more like a milk-like ratio, and now this feels more like a heavy cream, but I need this to be even more heavy cream with that hint of the red. So this is more like a heavy cream. And then I'm first applying it like towards the bottom. I'm filling it out, and you can see the separation of colors happening already, like the red. It's not blended properly with the blue, and I don't want it to be blended with that phthalo blue all the way, because I want to see the separation of colors. There's a different ratio between blue and red, and you can also mix in like even indigo. That would be okay too. So different shades. You can grab like cobalt blue if you want to, and actually I just grabbed a little bit. I had some. Now I'm gonna clean my brush and go for the sand, but before that I want to show you another little trick here. I'm just cleaning my brush, and I gotta be careful so nothing drips there. Some of this raw sienna here, quinacridone red, and my yellow ochre. So those are my favorite colors, like when I paint any seascapes. And I'm gonna start like right here basically. So the ratio is still like a milk-like ratio, but here's the tricky thing. You just don't want to have much paint. You don't want to have much paint on your brush. And that's what's important here, because otherwise things will just start flowing to the top, right? So I'm gonna grab a little more. So quin red, yellow ochre, raw sienna. And this is where I can see even more now where I place that wax stick. And again, you want to mix the colors on the paper, not your palette. So I want to make this a little more reddish. So maybe like right here, this bottom part will have more quin red. And I also want to add some blue tone. But first, I'm gonna grab more like a heavy cream-like ratio between water and paint of that both yellows, and quinacridone red, and definitely showing more red now on the bottom. And then coming back here, so I want more of the, let's say, raw sienna, quin red, and then where I have this foam, this is where I'm gonna place even more of that, like a thicker, not thicker, but I want this to be like a like with mid values, to dry with mid values. And I'm gonna go back and grab like a heavy cream to cream top. Even a little bit of maybe burnt sienna would be nice too. And I also have some of that gold, right? So I'm gonna see that gold later. Once it dries and I can move the painting around, then I'll see more of it. So this is the area. I don't want to go any further because that's how I can create a bloom very easily. Next step will be to add shadows for the foam, but I want a little more color here. And I have this balance, so it's lighter. This part is lighter. Quickly clean it, and I'm gonna grab just a tiny bit of the cobalt turquoise, blue, and green just on top. I wasn't planning on it, but I see an opportunity to add that color for the transition right away, but staying away from the sky so the paint doesn't get like, so I don't pull this part upwards, so I have to be careful. And I grab a little more. This is heavy cream to cream top like ratio between water and paint, just so I have a little bit of that transition. You can grab different colors if you wish. And then whatever I see most of these shadows, it's like here. There you go. There's of course more of it when we take a look at the other parts of the foam. So we can go through it too. Okay friends, so what's the next step? We are going to paint this part of the water. This is what my palette looks like. So I have phthalo blue, and I have cobalt green, and I have cobalt turquoise light. There's my raw sienna yellow ochre quin red. That's all I really need. So I am going to, let's see, just maybe 24 size brush. So I'm using my size 24 brush, flat brush, Da Vinci Casanel, and I'm gonna start wetting the paper. So I'm actually gonna stop a little bit underneath that horizon line, just so my line, once I have paint on my brush, it will be much easier to actually create that line. So I want to wet it up to like maybe a little bit below that. So clean water and wetting it all the way to here. And now I'm going to first grab cobalt green. So there's my cobalt green. I need way more of that actually. So more of that cobalt green, and at the same time I'm grabbing cobalt turquoise light, and I'm aiming for that middle section. So now you can also see the separation of colors. You do want to make sure the colors are actually slightly diluted with water, because this is like a heavy cream to cream top like ratio, because you don't want like chunks of paint. And almost all the way to the top, and as low as you want to go, but remember you want to leave quite a bit of that part, that area for the sand, for the colors of that sand. So as straight as I can go, and I didn't do it right, so I'm gonna have to redo it. I'm grabbing a little more paint and steady hand. And you want to use the edge of the brush to do this. I want to say I'm almost holding my breath. You can use a washi tape, but to be honest, I don't have much luck with the washi because the washi rips the paper too much. Especially that I already painted all that section. So I just want to have like a straighter horizon line, and then go through it again. There you go. And now for this part, I'm actually gonna grab my round 8, golden 1, and grab cream top, between cream top or heavy cream top like ratio of the phthalo blue. So if you really want to make it darker, you can go with a smaller brush and do the same kind of line but with a round brush for more control. But you want to have thicker paint so the paint does not spread much. So it's a little tricky here because you really don't want to go over that line. One thing actually I could suggest is if you want a little more over the water, this is just a blue with some quid red. We see those shadows, right? We can add a little more, but that's only if you want to. I'm gonna put this brush away. This is my, but you kind of want to start right above. We don't want to go over the water, so you want to be very careful and just keep moving. And I'm gonna grab a little more of the 2 colors. It's hard for me actually to go down here. I want to see better. There you go. I don't want to go below the horizon line. And just keep moving, but I want to fix this. This is why it's important to have a fine point on your brush. So it's kind of like almost painting with a smaller brush, but then you have all that paint, right? So the brush holds way more. And I grabbed more of the indigo this time. I grabbed more like a milk-like ratio. So the painting is finished, unless you decide to add a boat, which you can, it's not too late. Now remove this, I'm gonna remove this washi. So thank you so much for your time, and please let me know if you have any questions. When I see that the highlight has some color in it, and in this case it's like a blue violet, so phthalo blue with some quin red, that's when I know, okay, this is going to have that undertone layer. And so when you look at the highlight, this part is kind of really like white almost, and then you have the blue.